here we go. Lesson plan for today. So one of my games. Oliver, you and I actually went over this one last night, so you've already seen it. But for the rest of you guys, I think this should be new stuff. A few minutes on that. I played a couple nights ago. I won the game in a very controlled fashion, so you'll learn a lot about the art of endgame technique, and then we'll move on to endgame planning. And I shall read from this book right here, Reassess Your Chess, written by Jeremy Silman, and I'll just explain it how he explains it, and that's what we'll do there. And then after that, then we'll go ahead and do some advanced tactical thinking stuff, or maybe endgame planning puzzles. I predict that opening discussion for actually solving these puzzles probably wouldn't be the most beneficial to you guys, but we'll play it by ear. And so instead, we'll just discuss probably tactical decision making to help round it out, because if you mess up tactics, you don't really get to the end game. Okay, so why is that the case? If you mess up tactics, why don't you get to the end game? Because you're gonna lose. You're gonna get checkmated before then, or you're gonna be down a queen, and then there's kind of no point in playing out the end game. So you certainly want to avoid that. So I won't be just talking about the end game. We'll round it out with some advanced tactical stuff, and you guys learn a thing or two about that stuff. Okay, so here we go. Bring your A game, try your best, and grow as a player. That's what I've done after traveling, and so this game seemed easier as a result of gaining that experience. My opponent now goes bishop to f5. So his g45, I spent 8 minutes, and I decided to go with c takes. The alternative was to go queen to b3 immediately. After c takes, queen to b3, and he has some problems to solve. I'm threatening the b7 pawn. I'm also pressuring d5. So I think something like queen to b6 might be a good option for him. After this, then knight takes, and then after right here, maybe e6, kicking around the queen and kind of gaining some initiative and showing some compensation for that pawn. But he didn't do that. He just kind of immediately biffed it. He just went here, hip hip hooray, I want a pawn, yay. So I'm threatening the rook, okay, obviously he's just going to defend it and go right here. Now I go bishop to f4. I played this entire game, you guys, without any mistakes or dubious moves or anything. So after right here, a couple different ideas with this one. I'm stopping rook to b8, which would attack my queen and also potentially take on b2, resulting in loss of that pawn. But also I'm trying to get bishop to c7 going. After pawn now to e3, he gets castled, and then I launch it with this move right here, bishop to c7, and then he goes right over here. And now I go like this. So notice that I didn't do this on the last turn, because if I had done it before playing e3 like this, I wouldn't have a good reply to queen to c8. Sure, when you're up a pawn, generally trades are good. So that's why I waited until the e3 pawn had been moved so that I can go bishop here to a6. And now these bishops are working b8 beautifully together. He cannot go rook to c8 and then develop a piece and attack my bishop. He's relegated to go over here, and then now his rooks are stuffed in. So in addition to being up one pawn, like this right here, I also have a really pleasant position in that he doesn't have much activity. The opposite of this would be if he had a queen and could do stuff like this with his knight and like attack my king or something. That is a long ways off. There's no chance of anything like that. So I just castle, and he goes here. Now I just trade pieces. In this situation, not only is it just a trade, but also this knight is better than my knight. So I swap it off. He goes this way, and now I simply bring in the rook. Rook f to c1. After bishop takes, g takes, game plan is promote one of these pawns here. He goes knight to b6. I'm also juggling not only the plan of promoting the pawn, but also of keeping up the initiative and keeping his position cramped. I go rook to c6. He retreats now to c8, and I go rook to a6, pressuring this pawn right here. Bishop to d8. Now I go bishop to b8, and I got all sorts of threats on the board. He goes knight to b6. He goes this way. I go bishop to c6, and then after here, the bishops are working beautifully together, and indeed his rook is trapped. And so no matter where it goes, he's going to be losing that rook. So in this position, he resigned. Let's move on now to another endgame type of deal here. With this puzzle here, you want to go pawn to g6. Now allows for this f pawn to be passed, and when you have two connected passers, much better than just one, that's for sure. These guys are working well together. The rook's ready to be deployed and assist in the advance of these pawns as well. Life's going well for us. Rook to g1, they go this way, and now king to d5. The natural looking pawn to d5 would actually be a huge mistake. What happens now would be rook to c4. If rook c4, this is a major setback for us. Why would this be a major setback? The king won't be active at this point. We can't move the king upwards, and so we're just going to go right here, at which point the rook is restraining our activity. We don't want to do that. We want to advance forward like a so, king to d5. Now he goes like this, pawn to b4. Now we're just going to go rook to f1, and then we're going to be threatening to win a rook. Terrific. We're also going to be threatening to win this pawn and just clearing the way for these pawns. He goes this way. Now e6 check. We go here. This scooches back, king to d6, and the opponent resigns. We have a mating net being formed, and we have a pawn that's about to get promoted, and it's really helpful that we have this pawn. Not because we're going to promote it, but because it's preventing their counterplay of stuff like rook to d2 check. That's how you win this one. This is Alekhine versus you in London 1922. Phase 1 to begin with the move pawn to h4, followed by g4 and g5, on which black will have nothing better than pawn to h5, seeing that the exchange of pawns abandons the square h4 to white's knight. Another thing we're going to do right here is we're going to go pawn pawn to b3, followed by king to d3, knight c3, and then king e4, greatly improving the position of our king. And then there's 2 more phases to this plan. The maneuvering of the white knight to d3, after which black must immobilize his king on d6 in order to be able to defend the duly attacked pawn here on e5. So after pawn to h4, they go king d7. Now we grab some more space like so. And then after right here, we go like this. Pawn to g5, and then they go like this. Okay, so after pawn h5, now we're going to do pawn to b3, and then he's taking his time and placing the pawn on a safe light square. Now after king to d7, we go up like so, this way, and then now king to e4, and white begins to swarm around the e5 pawn. He goes this away, knight e2, he's going to maneuver this one to d3, as I said, and then they go king to d6. Now we just follow up by going pawn to f4. When you go like this, that was a sound, solid pawn here on f2. It wasn't doubled. He gets to fix his doubled pawns, but at a great cost. We get to go here. Knight to f4, and now we're going to win that g6 pawn that we planned to win 12 moves ago. The g6 pawn falls, and that's going to do it for this example. We're going to look at 2. I'm going to show you a lot of moves. It's going to be pretty advanced, and if you don't understand everything about it, that's okay. Knight to f5. In my opinion, this move is sort of too natural to be wrong. The difficulty really begins after black's move. So d6. We go like this, knight to h6. Okay, so they obviously have to take, otherwise they lose their queen. They go like this, and now we go rook takes here on f6. This is quite a terrible situation here for black. What black needed to do, if we go back a sec here, is they needed to go king to h8. Really defensive, proactive move. After king to h8, what he should do is just go pawn to g4. After here, pawn g5, b4. It's a double-edged, complicated position. It could most certainly go either way. After right here, they're going to go pawn here to d6. So we're going to go like this. We're going to go knight here to h6. After here takes, we go rook takes on f6. So we've gotten 1 pawn for it so far. This one's really weak. We have this really powerful initiative going, and that's all well and good, but we need something concrete. It's got to check out. White here had to really do their homework and make sure that it checked out on all lines. For example, this move looks pretty concerning, but it's not on account of this move. Rook to g6, check. What's happening here? How does that make any sense? Just queen takes. Nope, not queen takes. Queen f8, checkmate. They got a problem to solve here. Let's say they go this way, also checkmate. Game over. So there's no chance for the move rook take on e3. Additionally, there's no chance for something like bishop to e3 either because of king over, queen this way, rook to f7. Beautiful. The triple battery right here in conjunction with the threat on the queen and prospect of going rook to g7 is a serious game ender. Another try for them would be to go to g7. Kind of counterintuitive because it's on the same diagonal as this one, but it was given, so I'll show it. You go this way, and then after it takes here, then pawn d4, we grab the queen, here check. How we doing on material? It's even on material. That's going to change immediately though after winning the rook and then getting checkmate. So in the game here, he goes queen to e7, and black says, okay, yeah, sure, your attack looks scary. That's all well and good. You know what? I'm attacking your e-pawn. You don't really have an immediate check. You can't go queen g4. Bring it on. Now he takes on d5 check. This one comes up like so, and queen to e4. The key position, which white had foreseen and correctly judged. There is no defense to the move rook to g6 check. Guess what? This is going to lead to mate, actually. This bishop, super powerful bishop. They go this way, takes, and then here. The only way they can prevent the check is to go here, and then bada bing, bada boom, mate. Play well in the middle game, play well in the end game, play some good chess.